Yes, a very good afternoon to you, Griselda.
Well, Kamel, we understand the EFF has already started gathering not too far from where the ANC is also planning to have about 10,000 people. Can you give us the latest of what's taking place there now?
Well, Griselda, just to give you a true location of where we're standing at the moment, we are basically standing in Adderley Street, which is about a few metres away from Parliament. Now, this is where the EFF said they would gather, and they're at the corner of Adderley and Church Street, and this is where they're expected to be during the course of this afternoon and as we get closer to the State of the Nation. Just a few metres down the road, we have got the parade where we know that the ANC members are meeting for the People's Assembly, and earlier what happened, we had a few ANC members being bussed into Adderley Street where the EFF members were, but police intervened quickly, got them back on the bus and moved them swiftly to Adderley Street. And I'm not quite sure if you can see behind me, we do have a strong contingent of police officers. You can see that the gate has been fenced off behind me, and this is what they're expected to stay for the rest of the afternoon. But going forward, it's been quiet. Police are behind me. Members have been well behaved, and we had the leader of the EFF here in the Western Cape, Bernard Joseph. He arrived about half an hour ago, and he's just keeping everyone here under control. And as we have it, there's been no reason yet for police to have to intervene or for any violence to have to take place.
But are there concerns, Kamel, at this point that police would really need to really guard that parameter, given that you have the ANC and the EFF quite close? We've seen in the run-up to the State of the Nation address the EFF indicating that it does not plan to allow President Jacob Zuma.
What I can tell you is that at the moment, as we do have EFF, their numbers are growing here in Adderley Street. Police are behind me. What we do expect, though, is that for maybe a bit later this evening, that more police would arrive. But at the moment, police are keeping a heavy eye on the parade, and also there's certain roads that have been cordoned off. I'm just going to ask my camera colleague just to pan to the EFF at the moment as they're coming behind me. Basically the members of the EFF that have gathered since about 2 o'clock this afternoon. We do understand that more members are expected to come a bit later, and this is where they will be gathered for the duration of the afternoon. They're now moving closer towards the police, but as we can see, the police have fenced off the area behind us, and further than this, we don't believe that they'll gain entry.
Well, Kamel, we are seeing there some of those posters saying the DA must fall in the Western Cape, and we understand as well that quite a number of buses have already started arriving. They will march there from Adderley Street. Where do they plan to stay there, or do they plan to move a bit closer to the parliamentary precinct?
Griselda, the line is very bad, but if I did hear you correctly, we do understand that they are planning to stay here and that police are planning to stand behind me for the rest of the evening. There have been no talks of them moving any closer, but we also do know that they are on a section of the parade, which is just a few metres away. We do have another heavy police contingent. So basically where I'm standing, the road of Adderley Street is completely blocked off by police, and this is basically, once you are here, this is where you are set to stay for the rest of the evening and as we move closer to Sona.
Well, thank you very much to our reporter there in Cape Town, Kamel Lochenberg-Roberts, who's keeping an eye on the EFF march there in Adderley Street. We understand here, but that's exactly where they will gather. I mean, there were expectations that they would be there as early as 4 o'clock, this afternoon to, I guess, participate.
Yeah, it's minutes before 20 to 4. Looks like a little bit early. It's interesting that they've chosen to go down the route of the Grand Parade. It looks a little bit antagonistic early on. I see the posters are reading DA must fall in the Western Cape, so it should be very interesting. I'm sure that at some point this afternoon all the different sets of supporters will be engaging each other in some form or the other. Looks like there's a heavy police presence. It might mean that it was a good idea to get all the soldiers into the city.
Well, for now, we're hearing from the minister, of course, that they will remain in the barracks, of course, until, I guess, what the minister had described. If there's any calamity, then I guess that there would be a need for those soldiers to be brought. But none of that we're seeing at this stage, just quite a police presence, of course, on the parliamentary precinct. No reports about journalists as well not being able to do their jobs. That was one of the main bones of contention in the run-up to the State of the Nation address, the so-called militarization of the parliamentary precinct, as some have referred to it as. But none of that smooth